The Chargers last night, it happened so fast, eh? Last night they basically announced that, not basically announced, but Adam Schefter reports that San Diego intends on moving. They'll make the announcement as early as tomorrow. Owner Dean Spanos comes out with a letter that they will be moving to the Los Angeles Rams. A new logo has come out, which, by the way, looks awfully similar to the LA Dodgers logo. Some copyright issues there, I don't know. But
intellectual property.
It happened so fast, and I guess, Soos, I'm going to start with you. What happened? Why, after 55 years, San Diego's gone? What happened?
I think there was a lack of support for this team overall. If you think about that stadium, any road team that comes in there, it's like they're playing a home game. It makes every road team that comes into that stadium seem like they have the best traveling fans. You hear so many boos rain down for the Chargers, and on top of that, the community didn't even have their support when it came to voting over hotel taxes. To get funding for it, it was voted against. It was shut down.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, well, for me, see, the thing is, we've already, to me, this is not really going to make a difference because we've seen this year has really been a case study with the Rams as to what having a team in Los Angeles can do, especially when you're a team that's below the level of mediocrity, very inept, don't pay attention to details, very lackluster and lackadaisical in its approach. LA is not Cleveland or Tuscaloosa or Birmingham, Michigan, where people, where sports unites communities. This is a place that has a lot of distractions. There's beaches, there's Hollywood, Sunset Boulevard, there's girls for days, like everything. There's every reason in Los Angeles not to focus on sports, especially when you're a team like, you see what the Rams have done this year. The Rams, and historically, both these teams are they're afterthoughts in the NFL. And Jeff Fisher got fired. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't see this really moving into LA. Okay, it has its appeal now, but once September 9th comes, the appeal is going to decimate drastically. Like, it's a city of where it's a distraction central. I mean, if there was ever a coach that wanted to preach don't distraction as its mantra, it's in LA. Mm-hmm. And that's the city. The city's not going to pay to see this one. They have the Lakers, the Clippers, and plus all the myriads of other entertainment options they have.
No, I definitely agree with that. But I think it came down to two things. I think, one, it came down to just business. I think that San Diego, it's not LA in terms of the amount of money you can make, the amount of revenue streams that you can have. And the facts are this: ticket sales is just one revenue stream, and it's not even the best revenue stream at that.
But
there's
again,
television deals. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, but again, in LA, that's going to be an issue too, because Rams are not even selling out there.
Right, they're not selling out because they are in the Coliseum, and the Coliseum fits about 70,000.
I think more than that. I think almost 90.
Yeah, so the Coliseum is a large stadium. So if it's, unless you are basically a dynasty coming in there, if you're not like WWE in the 80s, you're not selling out that stadium. So I don't know if that's a case of the Rams, or if that's, well, the Rams suck, but I don't know if that's the case of the Rams, or if it's the case of just that Coliseum is so big that very few things can sell at that stadium. But I think that in terms of just business, I think LA is a better business move. And the other thing is the stadium. Listen, I'm going to go back to 2002. I was just a young lad back then. But I remember clearly and being so shocked that Roger Goodell was so, adamant about, if you're not getting a new stadium, we are not having another Super Bowl there. And I could not believe he just said that. And you brought up the issue with not even wanting to pay for a new stadium, even if it costs taxes to tourists, not even San Diego residents. There's just no support for this team. They did not want to buy a new stadium, which, again, I don't believe that any politician should pay for a new stadium. I think it should be up to the billionaires that own the team. However, that is an indication of where the support for the team is. And I think it came down to just business and support. And I heard earlier today when we were just starting the show that he was on Sportsnet. I can't remember. He's the host of Power Hour, Chargers Power Hour. He went, if Dean Spanos saw 60%, because they need to get to 63% for the measure receipt bill, but maybe 60%, 59%, 58% would get Dean Spanos to negotiate. But they just got barely over 50. What does that tell you about what people care about this team? And I know a lot of people have been egging the Chargers headquarters, and it's 55 years of rich tradition, and LaDainian Tomlinson, Phil Rivers, all these guys that we've grown up with. I get it.
Antonio Gates. Shea Ajiro-Tutu.
Exactly. Okay, come on. But, oh, man. But I think, you're throwing your jerseys now, but where were you in 2002, 2004, 2005, 2006? And I'm not saying I don't have sympathy, but I'm saying that, listen, at the end of the day, they're moving because of the lack of support.
Right. And like you said, it's the best business move.
Yeah.
Why spend your own money when you can just borrow somebody else's stadium?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And do the deal with Los Angeles when they get their new stadium, too.
Exactly. So, Stan Kroenke's stadium.
Yeah. I do have to ask a point. I guess any of you guys feel free to chime in. Should politicians, because this is an indication of what happens when politicians don't pay for the stadium, but should your government, whether it be local, municipal, provincial, federal, should they pay for a stadium?
I mean, I think it should. I mean, it's a local service. Like, it's something, it's industry, and it's helping the so-called community. It's providing a service, and I think, maybe at the state level, I don't know about the federal government, but I think at the municipal, state level, there should be some funding.
Yeah, I agree. I believe there should be at least a percentage of it.
Because there's the Ministry of Tourism for a reason, and those are things that are part of the tourist kind of what brings them in and enthralls them into that. So I feel like as if that needs to be there.
Yeah, but the infrastructure costs so much, and I don't know if you want to put your team in that bit of a hole. Because listen, I love sports, you love sports, Jesus. We all love sports, and I think that's why we do this podcast. But at the end of the day, are we willing to put a large percentage on the taxpayers' hands? I don't know about that, right? And this is the issue. The one reason why I think it was acceptable in this case was because of the Measure C bill was not going to cost the Chargers, cost San Diego's residents one dime, and I think it was just a missed opportunity, and I think it's a really good way of how to do things. Charge the tourists who come in to see these games. Charge them and not charge the people. I think it was a good idea, but in the past we've seen, especially with Miami Stadium, them really go after the taxpayer. Really go after those people to pay up the stadium, and I don't know if I'm about that. I don't know if that's right, because at the end of the day, it is just sports, right?
Right. And I think it doesn't help that these owners are billionaires.
Yeah.
And that you also have to factor that in. I think a lot of us see that and immediately believe it should be coming out of their wallets. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a percentage thing. If for example, the NFL is willing to give out, I believe it's $350 million if you have plans for a new stadium. Mm-hmm. Obviously, stadiums cost over $1 billion now.
Sometimes more.
So you do have funding from the NFL. If you have some funding from the state or from the city, the rest should come from the owner.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I just think how much, I'm not totally against it, but I'm just saying some of these stadiums that get built is a large percentage on the state, on the government, whether it be state or even just local. And I don't know if that is the right thing to do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? I think that a small percentage, if you love the team, yeah. But I don't think it should be really that big. Anybody got any points before we shift focus to the next topic?
Does this make Raiders to Las Vegas imminent?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does.
Because those were the oldest stadiums, right? Other than Lambeau and Soldier Field.
Right, and even Lambeau, they got renovated. So, yeah, no, I think Raiders to Las Vegas is going to happen. I've always thought it was going to happen. I think here's the thing: if the state is not willing to pay for a new stadium, I think it's sad. But if the state isn't willing to pay for a new stadium, there are other cities that the owners will go to that would love for a team. So, and it's sad, right? But it's the reality of the situation that we live in today. And we've seen that the NHL is going to Las Vegas. So why not a football team as well? That's just my point on that one.
Yeah.